Dave is one of our members from Ohio, and he joined the Navy after high school, and he was there for 6 years till 1972. He was with the Ohio Highway Patrol from 73 to 96, and he managed Paws Whisker Cat Shelter from 96 to 2017. So that's why you sometimes see them with cats, in his little window there. So that's kind of cute. And he's a member of the Toledo Stamp Club from '83. He's an APS, First Aid Cover Society, Machine Cancer Society, Ohio Postal History Society, and editor of the Ohio Postal History Journal, Pennsylvania Postal History Society, Postmark Collectors Club, Ann Arbor Stamp Club, the Philatelic Society of Lancaster County. Now that sounds familiar. Wyoming Valley Stamp Club, Postal History Museum. He started collecting in August of 1959 after finding and looking through his mother's old album. He got on his bike and rode 4 miles to the post office, where he invested in the newly issued dental hygiene stamps. He carefully placed his purchase in his pocket and rode the 4 miles back home. Upon arriving home, he found that his purchase was all stuck together. Being August, it was hot and humid, and the bike ride caused quite a bit of perspiration. Since then, he has evolved from U.S. singles to Postal History of Toledo, Lucas County, Fulton County, Ohio. Dave also collects U.S. 1949 postal history. He still dabbles in U.S. singles. However, about 1980, he stopped collecting mint stamps and started with used stamps only. He's exhibited 17 different subject exhibits at GISS, Colapex, Indiepex, Toledo Stamp Expo, Plymouth Show, AAPEX, Scopex, Worthington, and the Garfield Perry March Party. So we're very pleased to have some of this excellence. And I think you're probably wondering, gee, Paul, with all those exhibits, have you signed them up again? And yep, we're in that process. So we're looking forward to it. So without any further ado, if you would join me in welcoming Dave Plunkett to our program tonight. And Dave, you're on. We don't get kicked out of the building, so you take as much or little time as you need. Do you want questions before or after or during, or does it matter?
During it'd be fine.
Okay. Well, just hit the share screen and we'll be set to go. Looks like it's in the middle of the, there you go. It works.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Today we're going to be talking about the Toledo post offices around the world, past and present. The red squares on this map indicate the areas where the Toledo post offices have been located. I've been able to locate 8 Toledos outside the United States and 36 Toledos inside the United States. They're not all currently operating. However, they existed at one time. Toledo's outside the United States. We've got 3 in Brazil, 1 in Colombia, 1 in Spain, and 1 in Ontario. There's 2 Toledos, 1 in the Philippines and 1 in Uruguay, that I haven't been able to find any record of a post office with them. This map shows the location of the Toledo post offices outside the United States. This is an enlargement of Brazil. These are the 3 Brazilian post offices. This is Colombia, Spain, and these are the 2 Toledos that don't have post offices. Toledo, the state of Panera in Brazil, is fairly new city. Its first residents came to the area in 1946. This is an aerial view of the city today. This is one of the post offices. Manas, I can't speak Spanish, or Portuguese. So this post office in Brazil is Uh, This is the state, and this is Toledo's location within the state. This is an aerial view of the post office. When I started this, idea, I wrote letters to the 3 post offices in Brazil using the address listed in the Brazilian post office directory that I found online. I sent them out in the early fall, August or September, and waited and waited and waited. Finally, in March, I opened the mailbox one day, and there was this one letter that had gone to post office in Brazil with a return and address label on it. It said return to center, unable to forward as addressed. But on the back was a nice postmark from the post office that they couldn't deliver to. How that happened, I'll never figure out. This is a photograph of the post office in the small town. Pedro de Toledo, state of São Paulo in Brazil. This is the location of the state, São Paulo, and this is over to the right here. Is the location of Toledo within the state. This is a panoramic view of the entrance to the city and one of the post offices in the city. These are examples of 4 different postmarks from this town. From 1908 to 1953.
Dave, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How did you get the stamps with those Toledo postmarks? Just sifting and rooting for years, or can you buy them, with the given postmark on them? That's kind of neat.
I sent a email to the president of the U.S. president of the Brazilian Philatelic Society, and he sent me copies.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
In this slide, the red section is the province of Ontario. The green down here is the area within the black circle. And then this one county over here has Toledo located right here, in Leeds County. I sent a letter to the Ontario Post Office, and this is the cancellation that they sent back to me. This is a copy of the post, or a picture of the post office in Toledo, Ontario, and an aerial view of the area in Ontario where it's located. This is an interesting post office in Columbia. I looked and looked and looked, trying to find post office in Columbia because the postal authority said that there was a post office in Toledo. I even went on Zoom street level, or Google street level, and went up and down every street in the city looking for the post office. Well, then I finally, in the postal directory, there was an address for the post office. And that address is this box right here. It's listed in the postal directory for Columbia as a dispersing post office, and it has its own address. And this box is the post office. This is an aerial view of the Toledo and Columbia. Toledo, Spain is located just about in the center of the country. This is the state where this Toledo, Spain is located, and that's the location of Toledo. This is an aerial view of the post office complex in Toledo. And down here below is the front of this section over here. There are relatively few listings relating to postal operations in Spain prior to 1800. In Philatelic and Postal Biography, Spain and its ex-colonies from 1500 to 1980 by Nathan and Gall mentions Toledo. The earliest date at which Toledo is certain to have had postal service is well ahead of any Spanish public post office. And that would be in 1519. This is a 1851 letter with the Toledo postmark. And there are two 1870 letters with Toledo postmark. This is the postmark that's on the letter here below. Photoshopped and all the garbage taken out. This is a listing of all the Toledos in the United States. The ones listed in green are offices that are still in operation. For some reason, the green didn't take on Toledo, Oregon and Toledo, Washington. They are still in operation, along with Toledo, Ohio, Toledo, Iowa, Toledo, Illinois. South Toledo is still in operation, but it's now Maumee. The two in purple here are offices that are still in operation, but they're branches of the main Toledo, Ohio post office. The yellow, Toledo, Montana, never known to have a post office. This is a map of the U.S. just showing the locations where the 36 post offices in the U.S. have been listed, and this is the one from Toledo, Montana that didn't have a post office. These are all in alphabetical order. So if you start with Alabama, map of Alabama, and Fayette County where Toledo is located. And here's the Toledo on this map. It's an aerial view of the area in Alabama where Toledo was located. This manuscript cancellation from the Toledo, Alabama post office. This is a scan of a portion of the page from the record of postmaster appointments showing the Alabama post office and the postmaster assignment and the closing on July 31st, 1915. Cleveland County, Arkansas, located right here, also had a Toledo, and that's located just about in the center of the county. It was a small farming community. It was originally established in what was Dorsey County. The county became Cleveland County, honoring President Grover Cleveland in 1885. When Dorsey County was created, Pleasant Ridge was picked as the site for the county government. Shortly after Pleasant Ridge was picked, the town name was changed to Toledo on January 17, 1881. The record of showing the request for a post office Toledo showed it was on postal route 29259 and was expected to serve 131 families. Toledo refused to give right of way to the right away to the railroad, and the county seat was moved from Toledo up to Rising in 1891. After that, the city almost died, and right now, today, this is what the area looks like, a satellite view. Here we have a postmark from the Toledo, Arkansas Post Office, which is courtesy of the Postmark Museum in Bellevue, Ohio. In 1875, James McMillan moved from Pennsylvania, establishing a ranch between Lamar and Granada in Dent County, Colorado. At the time, this entire area here was Dent County. The area became Flowers County in 1889, and when the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad was constructed through the area, McMillan applied for a post office. His application was on June 12, 1885, and on May 1st, 1886, a post office was established in Flowers County at this location right here. There's no evidence that a viable community ever developed. And the McMillan Post Office name was changed to Toledo in 1886 with George Britton as postmaster. Here we have a pair of 1888 covers showing the Toledo, Colorado postmark. The killer is a pentagram design, and since McMillan was from Pennsylvania, possibly mimicking the Dutch, Pennsylvania Dutch influence. You see a copy of the postmark down here in the lower right. Toledo, Florida was located south of what is now Winter Beach on Highway 1 running up the coast. It was adjacent to Flatbush, Florida East Coast Railroad, but the train did not stop in Toledo. Toledo, Florida Post Office was established in Brevard County in 1894 with William Wigfield as postmaster. It was on Postal Route 23061. The county name was changed to St. Lucie in 1905, and the post office was discontinued in 1918. Here you see two examples of postmarks from Toledo, Florida. And this is what this picture, the Hawks Nest Golf Club, is what the site of the Toledo Post Office looks like today. Toledo, Georgia is located in Charlton County. Look down here, the Florida, Georgia border. Toledo is located right here. And this is an aerial view of what the area looks like today. The community was in turpentine manufacturing, and this was the company store for the turpentine factory, and also, I would imagine it was probably the post office also, since it was the company store. I've referred a couple of times to applications for post office. This is a copy of an application for post office that is made out in the case of Toledo, Georgia. Down here, ask for information on how far it is from the nearest post office to the north and to the south, how close it is to the nearest railroad, how close it is to the nearest creek, how many people the post office is expected to serve. There are no known postmarks from this location. Toledo, Illinois, Alexander County was established January 21st, 1874. And the name was changed to Elko in 1878. This is an aerial view of the area today, and there's no known postmarks from this office. I take it back there. There is a known postmark in that office, this one right here. And this is a copy of the postmaster assignment book showing the appointment of Samuel Braley as postmaster on January 21st, 1874. The current post office in Illinois, Toledo, Illinois, is in Cumberland County, and that is still in operation. This is the location of Cumberland County, and this is the location of Toledo within the county. Here we see a copy of the Cumberland postmark from 1878. And this is a cover that I sent to the post office when I started the collection, asking them to return a copy of the postmark. Sorry about that. I used the flag stamp, Illinois flag stamp, on the frank the cover, and this is a copy of the Toledo Post Office in Cumberland County, Illinois. Union County, Illinois. Had a Toledo post office. This is the Union County down here. This is a 1865 map of Union County, Illinois, showing Toledo right here in the north central part of the county. And we see an aerial view of what the area looks like today. Yeah. This is Huntington County, Indiana. Toledo is located right here and there. This is an example of the Toledo, Indiana postmark, again courtesy of the National Postmark Museum. There's a section of scan of the section of the postmaster assignment log for the post office department, showing the appointment. And this is the Toledo area today, aerial view. Toledo, Iowa is in Tama County. This is the location of Toledo in the county. It's a postmark. Toledo was founded in 1853 and was incorporated in 1866. The first permanent settlement in the territory was by Peter Overmeyer. First postmaster was John Zayrung, appointed December 13th, 1853. This post office is still in operation. And here's the example of 1917 Toledo, Iowa postmark, and the 2017 Toledo, Iowa postmark that I requested when starting the exhibit. Toledo, Kansas is located in Chase County. Chase County is located up in here. And this is an enlargement of Chase County. Toledo is located right over this area here. This is a copy of the postmaster appointment log. This is the location report to the post office department requesting a post office at Toledo, Kansas. Here we have two manuscript Toledo, Kansas postmarks. Metcalfe County, Kentucky had a Toledo post office. This is location of Metcalfe County in Kentucky. Metcalfe County, and this is where Toledo is located within the county. An aerial view of the area today shows that there's not much in the area. And this is a copy of the postmaster assignment log requesting a postmaster at Toledo. The original name for this post office was Dewey, and was changed later to Toledo because of the other conflict within the state. Lancaster County, Kentucky, located right here, also had a Toledo. I couldn't find a map that showed Toledo in Pulaski County. However, going from the landmarks on the application for the post office, this is the area where it ends up, coordinating all the points of location sent to the Postmaster's Department. Toledo, Louisiana, located in Vernon Parish. This is where the parish is located, and this is where Toledo was located, right on the Sabine River. This is a aerial view of the curve in the Sabine River, where Toledo was located.
Hey, David,
Yes,
Dick Kulberg here. Is that what today is Toledo Bend?
no, that's across the river in Texas.
Well, Toledo Bend's got a Louisiana zip code.
It might be then.
I mean, it exists today. It's a huge fishing destination.
I'd
It's
say there's
just-
probably a good chance because the Toledo being in the curve in the river right now here, it reminded the residents of some of the Spanish residents of the curve in the river Toledo, Spain. That's why it was named Toledo at the time. So they might have kept the name Toledo Bend. I haven't come across that.
Yeah, I used to live in Shreveport, and that's just south of Shreveport. Thanks.
The Toledo, Michigan territory on January 9th, 1835, a Toledo post office was authorized. It was Michigan thought it was their post office because of a dispute in different maps. The ordinance of 1787, Northwest Ordinance, cited the line for the separation between any states formed as the bottom of Lake Michigan, and a line due east, which at the time the Northwest Ordinance map was drawn, they thought that the line was farther north. Well, Ohio, when they became a state in 1803, specifically outlined their border and a line from the bottom of Lake Michigan to the northern cape of the Maumee River, which would put it up here. For 30-some years, nobody paid much attention to it until the Miami Erie Canal was being built, and Michigan wanted to cash in on having a port for all that shipping. So they started claiming Toledo as being in Michigan. Until that time, Ohioans didn't really care about Michigan claiming the area because there was a massive swamp over in this area, and the area was very hard to get to. When when Toledo post office was formed in 1835, the postmaster had sympathies toward Ohio and postmarked everything Toledo O. That kept up until February of 1835, when Andrew Jackson got tired of listening to the bickering and ordered the Toledo post office to use a Michigan territory cancel until the situation was resolved. This is Monroe County, Michigan, and this is location of Toledo Beach. It was a seasonal post office, open only in the summertime, and this is a 1923 map. The post office was only open from 1915 to 1925. This is the Toledo Beach area today, a nice marina. And we have two postmarks showing the Toledo Beach postmark. Toledo, Mississippi is located in Des County, which is enlarged right here. And here's where Toledo is located within the county. This is the intersection today where Toledo was located as a convenience store and small grocery store. Over here we have the application for the post office for Toledo, Mississippi. It was a short-lived post office. It was only open from April 1902 to January 15th, 1903. William Walling was postmaster. Toledo, Callaway County, Missouri was located right here in Callaway County. And here we see an aerial view of the area where Toledo was located. And there's a postmark from the post office. There was also a Toledo in Henry County, Missouri. And it opened October 22nd, 1858 to November 1862. James Cummins was the first postmaster. It can be seen from the copy of the record of postmaster appointments right here. Ozark County, Missouri also had a Toledo. Ozark County is located on the bottom of the state here. And here's Toledo, right up in the northwest corner of the county. First postmaster Spencer Blankenship, June 22nd, 1910. And this is an aerial view of the area today. The Ozark County Post Office closed in 1942, and there's a couple of last day cancellations from that office. And here's one from 1916. Rutherford County, North Carolina, is located right here, and the Toledo is located right down here. Oh, if you go to the application for the post office and use the geographical points that they point out, it can get kind of confusing. One of the points that they use is the mouth of Pool Creek, which today is down here. But in 1880, it was up here. Another point that they use is the Broad River, which has been a dam's been placed there, and the river has a completely different look than it did in 1880. Going through and reworking these points that are on the application. This area up here is the most likely area where Toledo was located. There's a Transylvania County, Toledo, located right in this area. Couldn't find it listed on any maps. But here's this shows a copy of the application to the post office department for a post office at that location. Yancey County, North Carolina also had a Toledo post office. And here's the Toledo post office right there. This right here is Pigpen Creek. And according to the application for the post office was located between this drive and the creek. And then later on moved 150 feet west. There are several examples of postmarks from the Yancey County, Toledo. Several last day of post office cancellations. This one is signed by the postmaster. Toledo, Ohio. It first became a post office January 9th, 1835. It officially became, the dispute with Michigan was settled in June of 1836. That's when Toledo stopped disregarded the presidential decree to use Michigan cancellations. It started back into using Ohio designations in the cancel. This is a sketch of the first post office building. Toledo was formed from two cities, one Port Lawrence down here, one Vistula up here. They formed and made Toledo. And the first post office was located about halfway in between, with vacant property all the way around it. No buildings nearby. Here's an example of Toledo, August 10th of 1836, straight line cancellation. After they stopped using going by the President Jackson's decree. And this is a transfer clerk cancellation from Toledo office. East Toledo Post Office was established September 22nd, 1859, and was discontinued in 1882 when it became a branch of Toledo. Located directly across the river from Toledo. And we have an example of the East Toledo postmark on this 1864 letter to Germany. This is a South Toledo postmark. South Toledo, located down here. It's actually the city of Maumee. Maumee had a identity crisis for a number of years. They started out as Fort Meigs in 1814, then they changed to Maumee, then they changed to Maumee City, then they decided that since Toledo was getting so big, they put Toledo in their name and they changed their name to South Toledo, and then moved back to calling themselves Maumee. Here's a South Toledo postmark during the period of time when Maumee was calling itself South Toledo. The manuscript West Toledo postmark. West Toledo was just north of the Toledo proper. It became it was opened in 1876 with M.R. Littlefield as first postmaster. And in 1908, it became West Toledo Station of Toledo. Toledo, Oregon, still in operation. It was located in Lincoln County. Which was formed from the western portion of Benton County. Toledo was in Benton County when it was originally formed. In 1896, it was chosen as the permanent county seat, and Toledo remained the industrial hub of Lincoln County. The settlement started in 1866 as Graham's Landing until a post office was established in 1868. When Joseph Graham's son was told that he could name the town, he was homesick for Ohio, so he wanted it called Toledo. And William Mackey was the first postmaster. There's a registered letter from Toledo showing Toledo, Oregon back stamps in 1925 and the 2017 cancellation of cover on manufacturers. Receive a current Toledo, Oregon post office cancel. Toledo, Pennsylvania. Was in Washington County, and this is Washington County. This square here is an enlargement of this area here. And this area is an enlargement of this square. This is where Toledo was located, just southwest of Washington. The area today is the area where the Washington County Airport is. And from reference points on the application, it was located right here at Childers Creek, where the post office is located. It's a manuscript postmark from Toledo, Pennsylvania, 1889. And it's got a Washington County back stamp. Slightly interesting story of this post office. When I started the project, I emailed Washington County Historical Society, asked them for all the information they had on the village of Toledo in Washington County. I received a email back saying there was never Toledo in Washington County. So I forwarded them the information I had, and they thanked me and said that they're going to have to do some research on their records. Toledo, South Dakota. It's in Lehman County. It was opened on January 25th, 1913, and November 20th, 1915. Reference points on the map make reference to the White River, which flows through here. But it makes reference to a lot of other points that make a location on the White River impossible. Well, after studying this overhead view of the area, it appears that the White River used to come down this way and make a big curve around and join back up here. And then all the other reference points I was given on the application started to make sense. And this was the point where Toledo would have been located. The reason for a post office here is completely unknown, as it's only accessible by at the time by 3 wagon roads that were seldom used. And that's why it only lasted 2 years. This is the application for the post office. It was filed with the post office department, and this is a map drawn by the postmaster of the location of the office. And you can see there's only 3 wagon roads entering the area. Fayette County, Texas had a Toledo post office. And it's established in 1873. Fayette County is right here on the Texas map. This is an enlargement of it. I couldn't find any maps that had Fayette or Toledo listed on it, but other reference points on the application place it right here in this area of Fayette County. This is an aerial view of the section of where Toledo was located in Fayette County. You can see it's not a very well populated area. This is Toledo, Texas, in Newton County. And right on the Louisiana-Texas border. It shows a last day post office cancellation, and there's a couple other Texas postmarks with 4-bar killers. It's on the Sabine River, and the office was open from 1885 to July 15th, 1937. Toledo, Washington is located in Lewis County. And there's the little road Toledo is located in Lewis County. It's still in operation today. And at the time, there was a steamer, the steamer Toledo, went up and down the river outside where Toledo is located. And the community is named after the steamer Toledo. There's a wrapper from Toledo, Washington, 1895, newspaper wrapper, and copy of the envelope that I sent to get a current cancellation from the Toledo, Washington post office, showing the post office in the picture. Also, here at the bottom are a couple of pre-cancels found that have the Toledo, Washington pre-cancel on them. Then Toledo, West Virginia, and Nicholas County. Nicholas County is located right here in West Virginia, and Toledo is right here. There's a 1892, or 1891, December postmark. From Toledo, West Virginia. It was open from 1892 with John Walker, the postmaster, and to 1895, April 13th, 1895. And that's the end of the presentation.
Oh, thank you very much. I have a question. If you could go to one of your early slides with the listing by states. About your third or fourth, yeah, about your third or fourth slide. And then the countries, it listed all by states.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it. Now you said two of them that should have been green and are still open. One is Toledo, Pennsylvania.
So
And-
Toledo, Pennsylvania is not open.
Okay, what are the two that are open?
Toledo, Oregon, and Toledo, Washington.
Okay. And what and the green and the purple ones are ones that have combined?
Yeah, they're now branches of the main Toledo post office.
Okay. That's it. Thank you. Now, some of them, when you said there's like no evidence at all, could there have been like an application, perhaps even an appointment of a postmaster that just never started up? Could that be the case, or?
Well, I found applications and postmaster appointments for all the offices.
Right.
So, and most of them have continuing postmasters listed after the
Okay.
first one.
So it's just that there's no cancels
None of them-
available, no
None of them
coverage.
nothing's ever surfaced.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Questions, anybody? Do you want to unmute? 'Cause as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking this might be kind of fun for pre-cancel people to get, all the Lancasters in the country and do a study like yours and exhibit with all the Lancasters or Lancasters in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of interesting. And that's Bob Noble. Do you know, are there a lot of Lancaster pre-cancels?
There are Lancaster pre-cancels. There's not a tremendous number. County-wise, yeah, there are more. It's probably more interesting to just look at the postmarks from the different locations
Mm-hmm.
in Lancaster County that a lot of you have never even heard of, which is something I'm becoming acquainted with. But some of them, as he said, never existed. They created the post office. I'll give you one right now. It's called Watch, Pennsylvania. It's created to send out flyer from what became Hamilton Watch. And they changed the name. They created the name Watch Pennsylvania. And it never did anything else. That's all it was used for.
Mhm.
That wasn't even a pre-cancel. That was just a funny thing like that. Some of
Yeah.
you seen my Hamilton watch pre-cancel. It's the watch pre-cancel is similar. It's on a similar envelope. It's not a pre-cancel, it's a marked watch. I also have another one that I think is very interesting that I tried to do research on, which is one called Dahlia Land, New Jersey. To my knowledge, there is no Dahlia Land, New Jersey. There was, however, a Dahlia farm which did a giant mailing of pre-cancels. There are all kinds of these weird things sitting all around.
Yeah.
They're fascinating.
It shows you, as Dave's going through this kind of cross section of our geography in the country, and you realize how fluid it is. Some of these towns, early 1900s aren't even on the maps. And, you look at the geopolitics where a road might have changed, or as Dave showed one, a railroad siding changed, the mill closes and those little towns just die on the vine.
How about Kirk's Mills? Everybody know where Kirk's Mills is in Lancaster County?
No idea.
How about Lincoln?
No.
Near Ephrata.
Yep. How about Lime Valley?
Lancaster Historical Society magazine, probably 10, 15 years ago, spent about, and a huge, I think a quarterly, pretty thick. They sent a whole issue or a couple issues, this time all the dead towns in Lancaster.
There are a lot.
Yeah. You just mentioned several. And it looks like, what Dave has been going through, all these are kind of dead towns. The town might be there, but the post office isn't, and in some cases, the town isn't even there.
Well, in Lancaster County, we have, for example, Lidditz Post Office now is taken on a lot of other post offices, and that's happening all over the country. To cut down the number of post offices.
Yeah. Well, I remember up in Allentown, she was saying that the Allentown post office closed, and it's now something new out of the Allentown airport.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get some.
Well, I believe I just heard mention Lincoln, Pennsylvania. Lincoln is very close to us here in Lancaster. Lincoln was just west of Ephrata.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. You
Was
got
there a Lincoln Avenue or something there?
I'm not sure, but there's a Lincoln Tavern that's a notable restaurant in Lincoln. But if we go up and was it 322? Go up 422 and head towards Ephrata on 322. It will take us right to Lincoln, which is just west of Ephrata.
That's right.
Correct.
Nice.
Dave,
A good example of geography tonight. Anybody who likes maps and things? Some of them were no more than just an intersection. Very interesting.
Some of them were stores.
Yeah.
Like the ones in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Groff's store.
The general store and all that.
Groff's store was a post office.
There's a little town called Aristus, Pennsylvania, up in the coal region. I don't know if it's still there, but I don't know if it's known as Aristus. But my wife's great uncle was the postmaster, and he did it out of his little general store. So,
Still exists here in our county, in Penryn, and the Penryn post office is inside a store. One of the few I know of. And there's also another one up here on the same road. A little rinky-dink road that has a post office on it. Fascinating.
I was thinking Penryn is the town.
Dave, you still there?
Question for Dave? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of these Toledo's are in way out location, very sparse population. But I do notice a lot of them are by rivers. So is there any correlation on steamboat stops and the post offices?
The only correlation I found with a steamboat or any type of boating was the state of Washington, Toledo.
Yeah, I noticed you only had, it should look like one, but some of them look like they're in the middle of nowhere, except they have a river by it.
Yeah,
And way back then, river transportation was probably the primary transportation. So if they had, the locals had a steamboat stop there, that'd be an ideal place for a post office.
yes, it would.
El
Hey.
Shab, is this the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Are you showing something, Len?
Yeah, for El Shab, is that the Lincoln House he's talking about?
Yes, the Lincoln House.
That's
Yeah,
Okay, well,
Lincoln.
Yeah, I've got a gift certificate for it, which we haven't used yet. I got to take Karen out there, but it's, the address is actually Ephrata, so maybe the town got absorbed somehow, but this is the, if I have that up right. Yeah, this is the envelope for it. But
That's
I understand
interesting,
it's a
Len.
great restaurant.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I'll let you know, Al.
Please do.
All right.
we lived in Omaha from 1976 to 1981. And there's a lot of little small towns, and we're still in touch with people. I check the map now and then, and about 3 or 4 of them are now part of Omaha, and they aren't on the map. So yeah, the bigger towns can take them over too. And not just for the post office, but for other operations. Questions for Dave? Couple. I'm surprised how many states will have 3 Toledos, which means they'll have 3 other things,
Right.
Missouri, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina. Interesting. I can see it when you have a north and a west and a south, but just to have just a Toledo here and a Toledo there, everywhere at Toledo. Okay, now I saw a little hand raised, one of the Toms maybe, or had a question. I don't see the hand anywhere. All right, we'll try that. Tom Bowman. Your mic isn't on. Your mic isn't on, Tom. There you go.
Aristus exists. Just so you know. It's up in Carmel, Pennsylvania.
What is?
Aristus. The town you said your father-in-law was a postmaster.
Not me. Oh, me. Aristus. Yeah. My wife's great uncle. That's still going?
It still exists. It's up near Mount Carmel.
I'm losing you. I keep getting a message saying my internet is unstable. So
This is now Pennsylvania.
missed it.
On email.
Frustrating. Okay, well, we'll catch up on that. Anything else? If your mic is working, unlike mine. Okay, well, we want to thank you, Dave. Give you the silent share. Very good. Very good.